The government said that it was becoming too expensive to continue killing Indians. Let's educate them. Let's assimilate them. He was a rabid assimilationist. So it was, let's kill the Indian in them and save the man. The whole basis for his boarding schools was to get them as far away from the culture as he could. Forced assimilation and forced Christianity, the work ethic in a complete military style format. No one had ever asked the federal government how many boarding schools they ran. No one ever asked the churches how many boarding schools they ran. So I decided to dedicate as much time as I could to research how many boarding schools were in the United States. Just recently, I've come up with 406.
That's a significant number.
At the school, the first place we went to in the boys' dorm was a large...
But obviously the government and religious child cults would never steal children or do anything bad to them today. They wouldn't inject them with aluminum and mercury, fetuses. They wouldn't spray toxins in the air for them to breathe and in their water and the food they eat, because there aren't too many humans and we aren't past carrying capacity with the structures that are in place today, power structures, and rather than adapt and create new structures, we'll just not do all those things that I said are not happening.
Open area, a concrete floor, and there we were ordered to get completely undressed. Some matrons were fond of only referring to us by our number. We were handed government-issued clothing, and then we were marched off to our dorm rooms, which is basically a military-style barracks. We got settled in for the night. That's when some of them started to cry.
Yeah, it sounds exactly the same as it happened in Canada. Same barracks-style sleeping arrangements.
It started off...
So you have to think that these governments and religions are sharing information about how to do this.
With little whimpers, little sniffles, but it caught on. All it took was for one little child to start crying, and then another one, and then another, and then another, to a point where the entire dorm room of little kids were just wailing into the night. And we all cried ourselves to sleep. Waking up the next day, our eyes are swollen shut, and the process was repeated over and over and over.
For more than a century, the Interior Department was responsible for operating the Indian boarding schools across the United States and its territories. At no time in history have the records or documentation of this policy been compiled or analyzed to determine the full scope of its reaches and effects. We must uncover the truth about the loss of human life and the lasting consequences of these schools.